Welcome back, students. In this video, we'll study volume and volume formulas. What does the word volume mean? Volume means how much space is inside of a geometric figure. Take this box, for example. Think of this like a small gift box. It's 3 inches wide, 2 inches long, 4 inches tall. What would that hold? Well, think of this little box, 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch, as a cubic inch. If we take the lid off this box and the lid off this cubic inch, let's fill this up with water. If I fill it up with water and pour it in, it wouldn't fill up very much. Let's fill this up with water again and pour it in. Fill this up with water again and pour it in. We'll keep pouring these cubic inches in until the level of water in my gift box goes all the way to the top. How many of these cubic inches would I have to pour in? Well, there's a formula that does that computation for us. The formula for the volume of a box is length times width times height. The length was 3, the width was 2, the height is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. It would take 24 of these cubic inches, 24 cubic inches, to fill that box all the way up to the top. Here are some nice examples of what your assignment is going to look like. A rectangular solid, length, width, height, where all of the sides are rectangles. Here's an example of a rectangular solid. If I want the volume, volume is length times width times height. There's my formula. The length is 5, the width is 3, the height is 9. Now on a calculator, 5 times 3 times 9 is 135. That's 135. And since this problem was in meters, I'll label my answer as cubic meters. There's what I want you to show on your assignment. Give me the formula, plug in the numbers, use your calculator to get a final answer. Now this one's not only a rectangular solid, it's a special case where it's a cube. Cube meaning that all the sides are the same length. But I can use the same formula. Length times width times height. Since it's a cube, it's 6 times 6 times 6. And on my calculator, if I multiply 6 times 6 times 6, I get 216. This problem was in feet, so my volume is 216 cubic feet. Great. To get the volume of a cylinder, I need a new formula. A cylinder has a height and a radius. If I know the height and the radius, then I get the volume by multiplying pi times the radius squared times the height. That's pi times radius times height. Let's try this first example. It's a cylinder, so let me get my formula ready. And then we'll plug in. For pi, we'll use 3.14. The radius of this cylinder is 7 meters. The height of the cylinder is 15. On my calculator, that's 3.14 times 7 times 7 times 15. That's 3.14 times 7 times 7 times 15. That's 2,307.9. This problem was in meters, So I'll label that as cubic meters. Now this cylinder has been tipped over on its side. I still want to think of this as the height. If it's been tipped over, can you see how that's really the height? Even though when tipped over, the height now goes left and right. Let's get the formula ready. Volume is pi r squared h. Pi is 3.14. How about the radius? Now be careful. A radius goes halfway across a circle, but this line goes all the way across the circle. That's a diameter. I want the radius, which only goes halfway across. I need half the diameter. Half of 8 is 4. Now the height is this 10. So on my calculator, I'll go 3.14 times 4 times 4 times 10. 3.14 times 4 times 4 times 10. And I get 502.4. This problem was in centimeters, so that's 502.4 cubic centimeters. When you do your assignment, show your work like this. Give me the formula, plug in the numbers, and then use your calculator to get that final answer. This figure is easy to recognize as a pyramid, but it's a special pyramid in that it has a square base. The bottom of the pyramid is a square where this side and this side are the same length. We'll call the sides S. The height of the pyramid, that's H. Then to get the volume, it's 1/3 side squared times height. On a calculator, here's what we'll do. We'll go side times height, divide by 3. Let's try one. I've got a square-based pyramid, and my formula is 1/3 side squared H. Let's plug in. There's 1/3 side squared H. The side is 8. We'll put an 8 here. The height, that's this 10. Now on my calculator, I'll go 8 times 8 times 10, divide by 3. Let's try it. 8 times 8 times 10, divide by 3. 8 times 8 times 10, divide by 3. And my calculator says 213.3. This was in inches. Cubic inches. Beautiful. Let's get the volume of a cone. For a cone, I need to know the height of the cone and the radius of the cone. If I know the height and the radius, then volume is 1/3 pi r squared h. When I do this on a calculator, here's the order I'll do it in. I'll go 3.14 times r times h, divide by 3. Let's try it. Volume is 1/3 pi r squared h. That's 1/3 times 3.14 times r squared times h. What's r? R is the radius. Let's call 3 3/4 the same as 3.75. We'll put 3.75 for the radius. The height, that's 6.5. 6.5 is the same as 6.5. Let's make sure we have everything. It's 1/3 pi r squared h. 1/3 pi r squared h. On my calculator, I'll go 3.14 times 3.75 times 3.75 times 6.5 and divide by 3. Let's try it. 3.14 times 3.75 times 3.75 times 6.5 divide by 3. 95.7. Let's try that again and make sure I type that in correctly. I got 95.7. 3.14 times 3.75 times 3.75 times 6.5 divide by 3. There it is. 95.7 if I round off. 95.7, this was in centimeters, so 95.7 cubic centimeters. Lovely. Now the last figure that we'll try is a sphere. The only thing I need to know about my sphere is the radius. If I know the radius, then the formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. How will I do that on a calculator? I'll go 3.14 times r times r times r times 4 divide by 3. Let's try this one. Volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. That's 4/3. For pi, we'll use 3.14. And for the radius in this problem was 6. On my calculator, I'll go 3.14 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 4 divide by 3. Let's try it. 3.14 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 4 divide by 3. 904.32. This problem was in centimeters. We'll call that cubic centimeters. Let's try that one more time. Volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. That's 4/3. For pi, we'll use 3.14 times the radius cubed. Careful on this one though. The radius only goes halfway across the sphere. This line goes all the way across the sphere. That's not a radius, that's a diameter. I only want to go halfway across, which means I need half of the diameter. Half of 18, that's 9. So on my calculator, I'll go 3.14 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 4 divide by 3. Let's try it. 3.14 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 4 divide by 3. And I get 3,052.08. This is cubic feet. Beautiful. All right, your turn. Go do some homework problems. I'll see you later on today.